Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to Tarot the Stashway Deck Interviews. Today, I'm joined by the lovely Jane the Secret Tarot, who you might know because she hosts Tuesdays with Tarot Stash exclusively on Jane the Secret Tarot. We have Jaime, Wandering Mountain Bardic Path. We have Cartomancy Mesquite, Angela. And we have Purple Elephant, Deb H. We will probably see Monkey a little bit. And I'm Tarot Stash. Thanks for joining. Please like, share, and subscribe to all of our channels. That does help us. See, there's the monkey.
Hi, monkey.
There's the monkey. We're simulcasting on a couple of channels, so if you don't see all the chat, you're not crazy because of that. And as we talk, know your limits and purchase responsibly. We're not telling you need to buy anything.
No.
Although Jaime may have just recently purchased a deck within the last 5 minutes.
She may have purchased.
Yeah.
Y'all.
Do you feel called out?
Huh?
Yes, I feel completely called out.
She may have just put it on her list.
No, she didn't.
Oh.
Thanks for playing.
Let's say hi to a few people in chat. And we are talking, this is Tarot the Stashway. We're talking about interviewing a deck interviews. And this goes really nicely with the tarot language that Deb, Angela, Thomas, and I did yesterday, which is part of the Tarot the Stashway playlist. And, look, Beth is here, Aspasia Rising. I haven't seen you for
Minute.
like half an hour. Yeah. Lottie B is here. Lottie B, how did the appointment go? So if you could let us know. Wayne Rich is here. Hi, Wayne.
Hi, Wayne.
Michelle Marie is here, and they are work looking until our dental appointments. So Vanessa S is here. Hello. Flowing, good to see you.
Oh, I love her little ghosty.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah, that is very cute. Rossi, hello. And Beth said, my dog just informed me that he has to go outside.
Don't wait.
And Lottie B, it's just assist.
Yay. We like it just being assist. Maruta is here. Hello. Claudia, Cat Mama Meows do drop in. Lady Silver 1111. Hi, Silver. It's great to see you. Tortoiseshell Moon, Kathy. Nancy Riker. And did I already say hi to Plucky Heroine? Hi, Plucky Heroine, if I did. So, we're monkeys getting kisses. So, and Rossi said, Jane, I saw that that missed this morning when you were reading with Thomas.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty funny.
Well, yeah, I got up and I looked at my YouTube alerts, and I'm like going, Jane's on, Thomas is on. I'm like going, okay, cool.
No, what happened was Thomas was on. I woke up really early and I saw that. I'm like, what is Thomas doing on? So I was in the chat and he's like, you want to come on? And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Jamie, Beth has 2 mass market decks in a cart. Don't feel bad.
This is an independent deck that happens to be on sale, and it's cute as hell. So there you go.
Yeah. Cool. All day. Yes, it's assist. Okay. Yeah, no shame in buying. There is no shame here at all. No,
No.
no, not at all. And Tiffany is here. Hi, Tiffany. And yeah.
It's 1:06. Good afternoon.
Sorry if you heard that.
Are we watching cartoons?
Nope, that's my watch. That's Minnie Mouse on my watch.
And if we play it right, we can get somebody to play a song. With
No, you're not doing that.
I don't know what you're talking about. So
I bet you don't.
no deck shaming.
Mm-mm.
Oh, and Cat Mama, I'm telling you. Yes, it's the pretty kitty deck.
Yeah, it is. It is super pretty. You know what? The thing that draws me in is the copper.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
it's and I was going like this. It's the deck you want to sleep with.
Wow.
Really,
Talk
it's
about.
Well, how's that for a segue? Today we're talking about interviewing a deck. And speaking of interviewing a deck, Zane, Tarot Token Witchery is here.
Oh, Naomi.
And Naomi is here. Hi. So we saw her PJs, like university. Everyone's wearing PJs to class.
this morning. Me?
I don't know. Were you wearing your PJs?
Well, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. Yes, I was, and I just gotten out of bed.
Beth asked Jane, what is the name of that deck, please?
The Feline Rider Tarot.
But
What? Yeah.
it comes up as Soul Sparkle Tarot on Amazon.
Okay, Soul Sparkle Tarot on the Zon of Emma.
But if you do put in Feline Rider, it'll come up, but you're going to think that you're wrong when it says Soul Sparkle. Just saying.
And you know, I was concerned. I have to say, I was concerned because of that Soul Sparkle thing. I was like, oh no, what if Because we've been hearing things, but oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so luscious.
Yeah.
And it's just gorgeous.
We could chip in for a room and for you and your deck, Jane.
We're going to make a GoFundMe for Jane and her deck. Yes. Comes after the interview.
Don't say that too fast.
They need time alone.
We need to come up with different questions for the deck now. Hang on.
Is that a swipe left, swipe right, swipe up? I don't know what those are. So
I don't know what it means, but if it means that you like it, it's swipe right. If that's what it means, this is a swipe right. If you like cats, if you don't like cats, don't get the deck.
okay.
Unless you like really sparkly, buttery decks. Oh, look at the Hanged Man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's got cool art too. So whatever.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Anyway, sorry. Beth.
My Capricorn rarely lets me do cute.
Aw.
That's
Well,
why
now's the time, Beth. Now is the time.
And Hershey, the shadow reader, is here. Hello, Hershey. Okay, so interviewing decks. This came up. This is something that I do. I've done it the last. Actually, I think in my first tarot class, we talked about how you determine the purpose of a deck. Actually, and I have since forgotten the simple 4-card spread, but that's okay. Jamie's looking at me. Gerald forgot something. It's written down. You know it is. Thomas is here. Hello. And Thomas, I would have thought you would have been asleep. So
maybe you took a nap.
okay. So let's ask this question. Do you interview a deck? And who would like to go first? Jamie.
Yes.
Jane.
Yes. Depending on
Great.
what if it's a deck that I think that I'm going to be using, and it's like not just a fun deck. Sometimes I get just fun decks that, like the Halloween tarot, and I know I'm going to use that on Halloween, right? So I don't really interview it.
Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay. But
Yeah.
otherwise,
Yeah.
Let me kind of go along with Jane. I occasionally interview a deck, but there are others that I don't bother with it.
Okay.
Sometimes. I sometimes interview decks.
Mhm.
I usually interview every deck that I purchase.
Same.
And if it's been a while since I've used it or the energy feels different, I may interview it again because I'm a different person. And so those of you who are in chat, do you interview a deck? Linda de Gonzalez is here, and Tiffany sleeps with their new decks.
I do too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so overachiever.
Yeah, Rossi, duh. Yeah.
Oh, do you want that? There you go, overachiever.
Mhm.
There you go. Do you have to buy it a drink first? No.
I don't know. Sometimes.
I might have to buy this one a drink. I don't know.
You probably should, considering the way you've been talking about it,
They're talking about sending me to a hotel with it. So
There you go.
Kitty.
So flowing does not. Naomi says rarely. Beth, Aspasia Rising says I do usually. And Kristen is here. Hello, Kristen. And Maruta says, I have done deck interviews, but I stopped because I felt like it limited my perception of the use of the deck.
Which I find valid and fascinating.
I starred that one because absolutely, I agree. Julie Kushawatsu will be on with me later today, and Jaime says, I seldom go to bed with a deck, but I will wake up with one. Yes.
Me and Jane, we got our drums out.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, she gets downloads and then she wakes up and then she has to create this deck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought she was talking about her husband.
No. His name is Peter.
I know that.
Or Twizzler.
Tiffany said, I have the issue of not knowing what to ask. Tiffany, glad you're here because we're going to talk about that. And is there a way or set questions for interviews? Only if you want there to be. We'll talk about that. Hershey said, my last interview caused me to put the tool deck in timeout.
What happens?
There you go. Okay. Book Bewitched said, interviewing a deck?
It's a thing.
It is a thing. The drink comes by after the interview, but before the sleeping with. Words to live by. So, Plucky Heroine, I don't, but want to learn how.
Then you're in the right place.
Yes. Tortoise, go ahead. Yes. Oh, Jane has got like notes. Kathy said, I usually interview all of my decks, but thinking about it, I don't interview my Oracle decks. Not sure why.
I don't either, Kathy.
I don't either. And I was wondering why not.
Why not?
Occasionally.
Okay. And Tiffany said, the way I interview my deck is writing down every meaning of the card. Everybody say it with me. Overachiever. Wow.
You're in the right crowd.
Yes, I would agree with that. Okay.
Now, do you mean the meaning that you get from the card? That's what I'm wondering.
That's a very good
That's how
question.
I interpreted it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Michelle Marie said, I deep dives with my decks all the time. I think it's important to create a relationship. They all carry their own personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And this is one of those things that that idea of the personality, that's why I think about interviewing a deck. I used to work in human resources where I interviewed people to find
Mhm.
out if they would be a good fit and what their skills were. So it's very much like that.
Yeah, and there are people out there that don't believe in interviewing or don't believe that the cards have any kind of, they're just pieces of paper that you,
Sure. Yeah.
which is fine. You can believe what you want. That's great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would tend to think that someone who believes that the cards are just pieces of paper, that would be all they would be for that person.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Sure. Jonathan said, aloha, friends. I do deck interviews and I even do them again when it's been a while since I've used the deck. Hmm.
Mhm.
Vanessa has not.
Mhm.
And Tiffany said, no, the way the booklet comes with. So they're not doing any special. Oh, it's an alchemy oracle in timeout
Nice.
for Hershey.
I'm glad it's not the intuitive night goddess.
Oh,
I thought it might be.
Diana Oil Painter said, "Oh my gosh, I'm driving again because after I washed my face, I had to take the dogs to the park for a walk on my way home, and I'm glad I have your company again." Well,
Nice.
Nice. Thank
Yay.
yes, yes, yes. Marita said, "My thought is that Oracle decks are focused on a particular topic and purpose already, but Tarot is a general purpose deck, so you might want to narrow down its use and purpose."
Mhm.
That
Valid.
is well said.
Mhm.
And Julie said, "I will pull a card to see what my relationship is with the deck."
Mhm.
And I'm going to let's spot why do you interview a deck? Let's ask that. Why do you interview a deck?
To find out if it wants to work with you and how.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
To see what
I
energy it has.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I will interview a deck because I want to know more about it, because I think it is, for me, it's a tool. And if I interview it, I find out about it. I find out what its strengths are. And it's the idea of is you need the right tool for the right job.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm doing. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I like to interview a deck and to find out what what I'm going to use it for, and also if it's going to be an only me deck or if I'm going to use it with other people as well. Because some decks just like my Spacious Tarot. Nobody else, I will not use it on anybody else because that is my deck. I see myself in it, I walk in it, and I was taught how to see myself and walk in that deck. And when I interviewed it, it was like, "Oh, I'm your deck girl."
sure. Yeah. Jamie, why do you interview a deck?
Because.
Say more about that.
I've thought a lot about this, and it's going to be, I will try and encapsulate. Okay. I don't look at them as human. I look at them as a way to connect with all the little ether things around me that make me who I am and where I get my intuition from. And those little sparklies connect with those pieces of paper and that art, somewhat making it tangible and real, but they kind of help me decide what the personality is, if you will. Okay. And how what subject matter they're going to be best with, how they're going to assist me, how am I going to read best with that. I don't worry about, is this a public deck or that deck, because I don't do, I will read for my friends, I will read for special things, but I don't do what you guys do. I don't, when I say this, I'm talking about me. I don't have any interest in that. But I do have an interest in connecting to the little sparklies and seeing how they interact with the pieces of paper and what my intuition comes up with, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
It does.
I will be forever known as the little sparklies or something, but that's okay.
I would get my, well, Deb is going to be, Deb is known as the glitter,
Yeah.
the wielder of glitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it informs my use of the deck, because it's like taking it out for a cup of coffee, just getting to know it.
Mm-hmm.
And, and my experience with it is different than everyone else's, because, people use the Deviant Moon. They use it just at this time of the year, and it's for, difficult work and stuff like that. I find the Deviant Moon hilarious. It makes me laugh. It is a very humorous deck for me, and that came through in the deck interview.
You want to hear something very just tiny twisted?
Sure.
The Deviant Moon came to me when I was doing hardcore inner child work.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my inner child deck. So I have several copies of it, and I generally, unless that's what I'm doing, or I have a calling for that, I don't pick it up, because that's what it's for me.
Yeah.
The Deviant Moon for me is a fluffy bunny deck. It gives me very soft, comforting readings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mine's a dick, but that's okay. Yeah. Open your eyes kind of thing. See things realistically. Don't try and, cover with fluff, but yeah.
Yeah. Beth said, yes, each Oracle deck is unique. Tarot is the same system on, and with different art. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Hershey said, I've never put a tarot in timeout, only oracles.
That's interesting. Okay.
Flowing said, do I need a pad to take notes? Yes. And they said, going to get a pad. So, and Hershey said, to see its strengths, what its strengths is, and how it will help me grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's nicely said.
Mm-hmm.
Linda de Gonzalez said, I have two decks that intimidate me. One, LOL, one is the Kira Marchetti Gilded Reverie Lenormand deck. The other is the Tarot of Mystical Moments. Any idea of interviewing these two?
Sure.
I will star that. So
Thank you, because I do deck interviews, but I don't interview my Lenormand.
Mm-hmm. But I do have suggestions. And Hypnicity is kind of funny, because I have always done all of the animal stuff that you guys know me for doing, but I am actually a licensed insurance agent for over 25 years. So that is interesting to me, because I can identify.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't treat them as human either. I did kind of clarify that.
Yeah. I'm not saying they're human. They have personalities, or they have it's like artwork for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think of Cubist art in one way, Renaissance art in another way. So that's cool. Plucky says, go ahead.
I will go so far as to say that I do see personality in my decks. I will be very honest with that. I do see personalities. That's no lie. Anyway, but again, I think it comes from out here to in there. But yeah,
yes,
I'm done now.
Lucky Heroine says, I have a couple of Oracle decks that seemed simpatico, but ultimately weren't.
Mm.
Flowing's got a question for Angela.
Okay.
I'm getting there.
You'll know it when you see it.
Reed, we're not doing readings today. Flowing.
It's not flowing, it's Tiffany.
Do you? Oh, here you go. Do you interview playing cards?
Yes, at times. It depends on the deck. I'll especially do it if I buy like a historic deck. I'll buy used decks if they're historic. I have one from the Lord Baltimore Hotel. They used to give them away like they give away cigarette, matchsticks, matchbooks, and I do have some of those, and I do interview those.
Oh, okay.
Because they already have energy built into them, and they have been through personalities of other people.
Right.
And they've worked with other people.
Which I find fascinating.
Okay. The best chatters are bringing it today. So, I'm like going, okay.
That means he may not hit every comment, but he sees you and he hears you.
Yes, thank you. If you have a duplicate deck, have you come across during your interview and each deck have a different personality? I actually have multiple copies of the same deck. One copy is for my personal use, and one copy is public facing that I can use for others. So, and good description, Jamie. Should I star that so I can send it to you?
Sure. Came from Julie. Hey now. You watch those gestures, sir.
What are you talking about? Jonathan said, I interview decks to find out how best to work with it and what reading it would work best with.
Do you, Jonathan, don't you do whether or not you're going to use it for public use versus private as well?
Yeah. Hypnicity also likes that. Today, Jamie is the favorite. Sorry, everybody.
He's always the favorite.
Oh, good Lord
There
in
you
heaven,
go.
guys.
And Linda had said, and apparently Tarot of the Mystical Moments is thoth-based, tooth-based, thothy-thothy-thoth-based.
Tothy Toth?
Yes,
My
which
favorite.
may be why Linda isn't matching with it. So, but I think it's, it's so not for me to use at this time, I'm thinking. I fully support that. So
it's valid.
Yes. Wayne said, I haven't, but I'm thinking this may be a good way to revisit some of the decks. I just cannot connect with and find out why. Absolutely.
And make sure they have 78 cards, Wayne.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I have your question, Rossi, starred. And
I have to mute myself for just a second.
It's okay. Flowing said they do have different energies. Yes. And Tiffany said, I have a deck full of animals and insects, so I'm not sure how to interview animals. Well, you're not actually interviewing animals. You're interviewing the deck.
Yeah, but you see the laughy face out there? I like that.
And Marietta says, I don't think of them as people, just vibrations.
Sure. You're spot on with your comments today.
Yeah. Yep. I see personalities in my deck for sure. The decks carry the artist intentions and viewpoint, and spirit guides, ancestors, angels use them to communicate. It's three entities: artist, guide, reader.
Nice.
Yep.
Well said. Yeah, I just had an itchy nose.
Yeah. Whatever.
I have 3 decks that are connected with a energy, and I love their energy. They are all death themed, so it's actually fitting for them to be attached to someone. And Jonathan said, Jamie, I don't include a question about the deck being private or public in my interviews. It's more of the energy between the deck and myself.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I meant. But yeah.
Yeah. And treat them as an extension of my intuition. Yep. Not 76 cards, Jane.
Smart ass.
So Tiffany says, I see the deck of the interview with the creator of the deck. The creator of the deck was definitely a person. So it's like interviewing an author. See that. The decks I use, particularly for a knee only deck, I generally have them channel to one of my guys specifically. She may be using text to speak, or
yeah.
So. Okay.
I know she is.
We knew.
Yes.
We knew.
Yes.
That'd be funny. I use some for my knees and then one for my
Some for my
elbow and then
shoulder.
one for the head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Oh my gosh. Any other thoughts on this before we move on to the next question? Jamie says no. She says no. What
Since
is
I'm the favorite, I'm,
your Julie's favorite?
Oh, I don't think that's true, but okay. Yeah, stop that.
What is your method for interviewing a deck? Tell us about that. And what do you do?
I generally grill it. I ask it question after question.
Is it the same set of questions, or do you go with the deck that you have in your hands?
I go with the deck I have in my hands, and whatever question pops into my head, that's what I ask.
Interesting. Very cool.
And are you just flipping over like one card, or you're doing like a full-blown spread?
I'll do a spread, different sizes of spreads, depending on the deck and how it's answering. If it'll answer in 2 cards, I'll take 2 cards. If I need 5 cards, I'll lay out 5 cards.
Okay. Jane, what do you do?
I have a set of 7 questions that I will ask a deck, and I might tweak it just a little bit, and then also too, like there is a spread that you're supposed to use, and so I was wondering about this. Then I get all confused, so I just lay them out in the 7 in the row. But what I do is I don't shuffle my deck and then go, okay, question number 1 is the first card. I shuffle in between and I talk about each question, and then I'll be like, okay, so now I'm on question number 2. So I don't, you know what I'm saying? Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you break the energy between questions.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Angela's approach is completely intuitive.
Very nice.
Yes.
And Jane, are you willing to share some of your questions?
Of course.
You have your 7 questions. Flowing would like some examples, and I think everybody would enjoy some examples.
Sure. I'll give some examples, and then other people can give their examples too.
Yes.
So, one of the most important questions I ask are, what are you here to teach me? And then how do you see me as the reader? And how best can I work with you? And what is the potential outcome of our time together? But I wrap it up with that. And I do have 7 questions that I ask, but I don't want to give them all away. I want other people to have their questions that they ask too.
Deb, do you ask specific questions?
Not usually. I tend to do a spread, like a regular Celtic spread, but I'll ask a variety of kinds of questions. So I'll ask a personal question, a political question, a question about, energies. So I will spend time with the deck getting to know what kinds of questions it likes to answer,
Mhm.
and what kinds of questions I resonate with that deck.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So okay, I have my notes. This is my my book of
Things.
deck interviews and different readings, and so we got this from Zane, Tarot Token Witchery,
We sure did.
who was influenced by Chris of Elemental Cartomancy, who, by the way, the last time I was with him, he does not do a deck interview anymore. So I know, I was like,
Chris Kelly McFadden doesn't.
Chris Kelly McFadden does not.
Okay.
Vicky and Dee are here. Hello. Okay, so the 6 questions are: tell me about yourself. What are your strengths as a deck? What are your weaknesses as a deck? What can you teach me? How can I best learn from and collaborate with you? And what is the outcome of our working relationship?
I like those.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you do a spread or do you just put them in a row?
I usually stack them 3 on top of 3 so that I can take a picture of it and send it to Jaime.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
But I would just put it in a line, because then for me is the visual
Mhm.
would also tell a story,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the numbers,
Yeah.
the numerology, and the order of, because if I get a lot of cards that are low in the beginning and they're high at the end, then it's a growth opportunity.
Mhm.
So, and yes, there have been some spreads where, and I have mixed all of the cards, because I'm mixing the cards while saying these questions out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And bye, Michelle. And so it gets that, but I've mixed them a lot. But there have been some spreads where it's like all major cards. It's
Mhm.
like, holy crap.
Mm-hmm. So I use that spread that Gerald just read, because like he said, it came from our friend Zane, who was influenced by Chris. But I shuffle a certain way as well, and it's always the same when I do a deck interview. It's not shuffling in between or anything like that, because for me, and I understand what Jane's saying, and I understand how everybody has a different interpretation of how they do things and why, right? So I'm not saying one's better than the other, just what I do. So I shuffle, and then I will go through and I will let the energy break where the deck is. This is the first card. That's the second card. And then the rest comes from the top. And that's how I lay them out. And it's always consistent and the same every single time as to how I shuffle.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, it's fascinating, all the little things that we do and why we do them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know somebody was asking me once, now, do I just shuffle them 3 times? And I'm like, well, a lot of people do, but you can shuffle them as many times as you do you. You
Mm-hmm.
do
Yes.
you.
Whatever feels good, do it. Shuffling cards however many times isn't going to hurt anybody. You know what I mean?
Well, and I've talked about before is when you develop a routine or a ritual
Mm-hmm.
of how you mix
Power.
the cards before you do a reading, it builds that energy up.
Yeah.
And that came from my high priestess in the tarot class that I was taking with her. And so it's something to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. I mean, I usually will riffle shuffle 3 times, and then I'll overhand. And then I blow into the deck. I give it my energy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I have friends. Yeah.
It's this that comes in here and out here. I speak it into the deck. And so
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, I
do that.
have friends that are professional readers that blow on the deck and knock on it a certain number of times and stuff.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's a good question. Do any of you knock on your decks?
Oh, yeah.
Three
Okay.
times.
I'll ring a bell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
Angela does.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. I want to
When
get caught up in chat. Go ahead, Deb.
When I do my, when I'm interviewing my decks, I want to know what kind of story is it going to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm looking for when I do a specific layout or spread. I'm looking for what does the story, how does this deck tell a story?
Yeah.
Yeah. Marita said, I do knock on them to wake up the energy. Vanessa knocks. You're getting a little bit of love, Jane. And Vicky knocks 3 times. Beth says, I riffle shuffle, overhand, blow on it, tap 3 times. So, and we have now, whenever I open a new deck, my only question is, what message do you have for me? The card that comes out tells me a lot of the energy and personality of the deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like the Vanessa's comment, the small singing bowl, because I have that as well.
Yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
oh
And,
yeah,
and Thomas, Terry away, I'm a Tommy knocker to deck.
this morning I had to knock my head.
Nice.
I think I watched that.
Did you see that?
I think I see that. And okay, yeah, there's I knock on it and blow on them. And I find knocking on it can clear old energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I knock on it to remove previous energy, and I often put selenite on top of it overnight. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Hmm.
Tiffany said, I knock 4 times. Is that bad? No.
No.
So, oh, and Mousy Girl, moved to my PC so I could say hello, can't read or chat on my Kindle. Okay. I knock on mine. No, not consistent, just as I feel at the time. Sure.
There
And I lay my deck on a black kyanite broom to clear. Ooh, nice.
I throw this on it. It's Kambaba Jasper.
you
It's very heavy and
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I also wrap my hands around them to set my intention flowing, says.
Mm.
I do that too.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that is, we think about interviewing a deck, it's how are we going to work together?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And because there are some decks, for a while I wasn't riffle shuffling, and now I almost riffle shuffle every deck, and I want it to be able to riffle shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Oh yeah, everybody loves, and people are loving that stone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get caught up in chat because the best chatters are bringing it. All 34 of you, thank you. So I'm just going to go down from everything I have starred. Tiffany said, I sleep with my new deck. Who sleeps with their decks?
And I put crystals in the bag with them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sleep with my decks.
I don't either.
Have I ever done that? I did that with my Robin Wood, the one that I combined with friends. So Marita said, I have done deck interviews, but I stopped because I felt it limited the perceptions of the deck.
Right.
The use. I have the issue of not knowing what to ask. So
Well, you can find deck interviews and different spreads. Like I said, I have 7 questions that I ask every deck. Now, I wonder, like every once in a while, if somebody's going to ask me, if I have a client and they're going to ask me a financial question or a question about land or a question about love, there's different decks that I've noticed like to do that more, like to play with that energy more.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to, it's not like I've done a particular financial or land or whatever, love with a particular deck, but I just notice that they like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. They give me that feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Vicky shared, what can you tell me about your energy? That's a great question.
Mhm.
That is.
So, and we, people do slept with my pendulum when I first got it under my pillow. If I did that, they would be everywhere. I move when I sleep. Sometimes you don't, and Tiffany puts them under their pillow.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't put the mystical moments under my pillow though. LOL, like I said, it's intimidating.
You
AF.
have some major dreams.
Yeah, I'm wondering what would that do? Experiment.
Yeah. Thomas says I quit sleeping with my decks after drooling on one.
Oh,
And
Tom.
Flowing said, I now understand what I should ask. Thank you. And I would say not necessarily should, but you could.
Mhm.
Yeah, what you wanna or something,
Yeah. And when I was early into my tarot journey, I asked a deck its personality and got the devil card. I thought it was cursed. I understand what it meant now, and it's fine. Knowledge is power.
It
Yeah.
just wanted to party.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm too restless of a sleeper as well. It's like back in high school, I put my books under my pillow thinking I was downloading all of the answers to finals in my brain. Oh, if it were that. Oh, man, I would totally into that. So,
Well,
anyhow.
it's like when I first started my channel and I was doing the angels and I would pull like 6 angels, I would pull the top and the bottom from 3 different decks, okay? And then I would put them up on my altar all day, and then I would sleep with them under my pillow, and I would pull crystals that worked with the energy of those angels, and
Mhm.
all of that went under my pillow with a key.
Yep.
But now my husband starts up with the bed upright, like we have one of those beds that you can go woo woo woo, and ever since his operation.
So Christine Brooks said, I've learned so much today. I didn't know interviewing decks were a thing. They may not be a thing for you, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's up to you.
It is absolutely up to you. And okay. Is there a way or set questions for interviews? There are a lot of videos on YouTube
And books.
and books. Yes.
I have one over here, 365, one a day, basically.
Yeah. So, okay. And Tiffany said the way I interview the deck is writing down every meaning of the card. That's a huge deep dive.
Yes,
Mhm.
it is.
It's a great way to learn. Absolutely. So,
Now, Tiffany, is that with tarot or oracle?
I think it was with tarot.
It is with
But,
tarot. Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I saw that, Beth. I saw that.
What did Beth say?
Candy from Soul and Soil just posted a deck interview today. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Bye, Mousy. So, Edgar Casey used to sleep with books and have them downloaded them page by page in his sleep. Yeah, somebody else mentioned that too.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan says, with my neck pain, I think having a deck under my pillow would be very uncomfortable.
Well, I put my deck next to my pillow. I will sleep with a few cards under my pillow. But
yeah, see, I have one of those pillowcases that actually tucks around the pillow so that the pillow doesn't come out of the case, because we use satin because of our long hair, so it doesn't get all knotted up and stuff. So what I do is I take the deck and I put it in that little fold, and so it's not going to go anywhere. Yeah.
yeah, same.
Mhm.
So it's still, I'm saying it's still on the side in the
Mhm.
pillowcase.
Yes,
It's not
ma'am.
under it because
Yeah.
I have neck issues myself.
Mhm.
Which,
I think you can also ask your deck a question at any time. It's like giving you trouble connecting. That is something that I wanted to talk about, because I've done deck interviews and I've actually written down the deck interview questions, and I keep the box. And sometimes I'm like going, you know what? It's an intuitive thing. Maybe it's time just to check to see how I've changed and how the deck may change,
Mhm.
and how we're going to work together.
Yeah.
Um,
Hi, Pamela.
Pamela's got a,
said,
Mhm.
when I interview a deck, it's really more like an introduction. How do you see yourself? How do you see me? What can we talk to each other about? And where is our journey together leading me?
Mhm.
So I think that's nice, Pamela.
That's great. Yeah,
Yep.
great set of questions.
I mean, and do you need to do a deck interview? No, you don't. If you do, it can be as simple as pulling a card and tell me about yourself. It can be as complicated as I do a series of 7 different specific spreads. So I'm ignoring Thomas's comment.
Yeah, I figured you were.
Um, oh, Rossi asked the question, do you keep your decks in the box or do you put it in a bag? Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it depends.
if it's a tuck box, it's going in a bag.
Oh yeah.
But if it's one of these buttes, a nice with the thing on the side, the magnet, it stays in the box.
Yeah. Jaime sometimes gets bags made specifically for her decks.
This is very true.
Yes.
Yep.
Um,
I like knowing what's in the bags, and I don't like the organza things. So, yeah.
yeah.
I
Okay.
like a bag that can hold the box.
Yes, so do I. I love
I do
that.
too.
Hmm.
I really do too. Yeah. Rossi asked, what makes you decide to put a deck in timeout?
When it annoys me.
Okay.
Well,
Anybody else?
When
Yeah.
it refuses to answer a question. It's that simple. Sometimes they do.
Hmm.
The only time I put a deck, I mean, if I'm sitting here, like this morning, I was with Thomas. I had just woken up, but I was using 2 different Lenormand decks, and I felt like I had to switch them up because the energy was I didn't know if the energy was getting mixed up between the 2.
Mm-hmm.
So so I guess that's kind of putting it in a mini timeout.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll do the same thing with tarot decks if I've asked it too many questions,
Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, you do have those workhorse decks, that'll do anything, anytime for as long as you want.
Mhm.
That's very true.
Hmm.
That's very true. Jaime, do you put decks in timeout?
I have a purgatory box.
What is a purgatory box for people who do not know that term?
Well, it depends. It could be a myriad of things. It's not just one thing. Sometimes it's a deck that has annoyed the piss out of me. Sometimes it's stuff that I just don't use. I thought I would, and then I won't, but I'm hanging on to it just in case, which is ridiculous. I don't sell my decks. I give them away. So sometimes they sit there until like lightning strikes and it says, "Ah, that's who that needs to go to." So that's what my purgatory box is.
I think. Go ahead.
No, I have a deck right over there that it needs to go bye-bye.
I put them in timeout because I just don't like it. I don't get along with it. It looked different on camera than it did in reality. It's sticky. It's gross. Jeffrey gave me somebody gave Jeffrey a tarot deck, and then he gave it to me. And he gave it to me because it's one of those plastic ones where when you shuffle it, it goes whoosh everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's in timeout. It's going to be used for something else. I mean, because I can't shuffle it.
Mm-hmm.
I usually put one in timeout is when I can't handle it, when it just won't shuffle. It's obstinate. It doesn't want to answer questions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And timeout for me is one of those things. It's very timeout means you're horrible and you're expelled, or
Yep.
but maybe if you're expelled, I'm getting rid of you. If you're suspended, I'm cleansing you. I'm starting to do that. There are just sometimes when I'm doing readings, and I've been on lives with you, Deb, where you're shuffling, and it's like, this deck does not want to be used for this question.
Yes,
Mhm.
that happens fairly often.
Yeah. So, okay. I do it to familiarize myself with cards, and I also guess I'm guilty of personalizing my decks, so it helps me get to know the vibe, energy, and how I relate to it. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I'm the
perfect.
same, Kathy. I don't see anything
Yeah,
wrong with that statement.
I mean, and I haven't yet, but I'm thinking this may be. I would love to find out what you discover, Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm also the kind, if I can, I will let the spread out and I'll walk away from it and then I'll come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what am I missing here? And Jonathan created an 8-card spread for his deck interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Tiffany said, my deck told me to come here.
Oh, I just got a flipper.
Oh, well, what's the flipper?
Well, and I decided I was like, well, while I'm sitting here, I'm just going to kind of do a deck interview with my 7 questions. And it says, so my first question is, what are you here to teach me? I got a flipper. I got the magician.
Nice.
So I'm kind of happy I'm doing this. Let's see what else shows up.
Yeah. Hypnicity said, are you requiring the deck to prove itself? No.
No. Mm-mm.
No, not at all.
No, it's more of a let's get to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, there are several deck interview videos on YouTube, and Candy Soul and Soil just posted one. You said
Mm-hmm.
so. Plucky asked, "Are the white books ever a consideration in the selection and/or purchase of a deck?" Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what more to say. Anybody else want to add to that?
Sometimes I'm not thinking about the guidebook. If the guidebook comes and it's pretty rad, then that's a bonus. So for me, that would be a no. I mean, it's groovy. There's one particular deck that I have that's a kind of a law of attraction deck that guidebook looked pretty cool, but it wasn't the deciding factor by any means. So for me, it'd be a no.
Yeah. I do know Sadhana, Integrative Healing with Sadhana, did a series of rating books that came with the decks.
Yeah.
And I did purchase a couple of decks because of that. The Phantasmagoria, which is the name of it's the yellow and black one, and they have a Lenormand that is by the same author. I can't remember, and it's not here because I rearranged shit. Excuse me, I rearranged things.
Oh, see?
Sorry. And okay, Allison said, "Hi, Allison. Isn't it more like a meet and greet once you own the deck? You're not interviewing it. Just saying." Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know where I'm going to put it in the stables. Is it a workhorse? Is it a show? So
Yeah, there was a question that I saw that I think we went over, which is okay. But the question was, if you interview the deck and you find it's good for one thing, is that the only thing you use it for? And for me, that would be a no.
I will, yeah.
So if it says it's only good for, like, let's say it's, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a subject, but if it says it's only good in one direction, are you going to only use it for readings in that one direction?
Yeah. Oh, here it is. It's Kathy.
Yeah.
What I do, and maybe it's just me, but I will, if I need to do a certain type of reading, if I'm doing reading, I do private readings for people, and when I do those, I'm pulling out the decks that work for those types of energy questions.
Mm-hmm.
If I am meeting somebody and I don't have that deck with me, I'll ask which of the decks are willing to step in and help me with that. So, but any other thoughts on that? Great question, Kathy.
Mm-hmm. That is a great question.
So, Naomi said rotating is good for me, helps me get a new perspective next time around.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And Thomas said, my plaid back RWS only gets retired if it gets damaged, and then I have about 15 other RWS decks or clones to switch put with.
Mm-hmm.
Once selected, it's my working deck. Yeah. So, Jane, did you do your spread? You want to share?
Well, it started out really strong and really good. The first question is, what are you here to teach me? And we got the magician, right? And then how do you see yourself as the deck? I got the Wheel of Fortune. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then for how do you see me as the reader? The Fool. This deck is hilarious, I tell you. And then how can I best work with you? I got the Sun.
No, that's nice.
Nice.
Yeah. But then it says, and then what are your strengths as a deck? I got the Tower. Like, it's going to be really honest with me, it feels like, But then what are your limitations as a deck? Well, I get the 10 of Cups. So I don't know that it's like a really, what would you say the limitation of a 10 of Cups would be?
Emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what is our, this one cracks me up. What is the potential outcome of our time together? The Devil.
Nice.
So I'm like, but I did not do this deck interview the way I normally do my deck.
Yeah.
But you know what? It is giving me cat vibes. Beth just says, Jane, that deck is cat energy. And yes, it is, because it's messing with me. It's a cat. It's like the devil. Cats are little devils.
Oh, and Naomi is right. It's the Shadowland
Mm-hmm.
that I was thinking of. that one I did get for that. And
I sent the link to Jonathan, so he's
Oh.
good.
thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because Jonathan, it has a this one has a volcano on it too.
Mhm.
Well, and I was actually thinking, because the devil, that's the cat on on the countertop, pushing off the glass full of water and staring at you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy with it. I've got chills all over going, me and this deck are going to have fun.
Mhm.
You have fun with all of it. Shush.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't ask fluffy bunny questions.
Yep.
PD, the Tarot Lounge, said, my favorite deck is the plain old Rider Waite that I learned on, where the cards are all disintegrating from being well used. I love that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Love that. Thomas said heavy sword heavy spreads may indicate the deck is a talker.
Mhm.
That's nice. Miss Charlotte is here. Hi.
Hmm.
And Tiffany asked, how do you see me and got the tower in reverse? What would that mean?
Hmm.
That
Tower in reverse.
That you're
I'd say stable, because the tower upright is totally no stability, where in reverse.
So in reverse, the foundation presents.
Mm-hmm.
It's solid.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you're solid. You're good. Yeah, that's interesting. And that's one of the things that I try to do is this is something I got from Jeffrey. And when I do a reading, especially a deck interview, I try to link all of the cards into a sentence or two
Mm-hmm.
so that it sums up the relationship.
Oh, I can say I learned that from Jeffrey too.
Yes.
Aw, happiness.
I do that with Lenormand, but I don't know.
Susan is here. Hi, Susan. Maybe I should be laying the slippery cards out and pull out cards like a Canadian reader I used to watch. Can't remember his name. She's such a sweetheart. If you're shuffling the cards and they're slippery, do a wash and pick them that way. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, sometimes if I want just one card, I'll just cut it, And I got the Hierophant, which is me.
Yes.
Mm.
Because I'm a 5. I'm the Hierophant or Hierophant, whatever you want to say. Tomato.
Yes. Naomi said, I just checked my journals. I did 2 deck interviews in 2017, 6 and 18, 2 and 19, and none for 2020 onwards.
Which I find fascinating.
Yeah. Jonathan said, the only question I haven't heard that I have in my spread, what kind of readings do you work best with?
Mm-hmm.
And I also ask, what message does the deck bring to me at this time?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, I have lots of deck interviews in here.
Yes.
God damn it.
Your watch is so cute.
Oh, here you go. Lottie B says, it's funny, the past few days I've been thinking about clearing out my bedside drawers and keeping all of my decks in there. Watching this has given me the push to do it.
Good.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I thought about, wait a minute. Sorry. Thought about what Gerald said yesterday. I was afraid of one card in the Titanic yesterday. I tried to look for it. Couldn't find it. Gerald said energy shift.
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo! I helped somebody. And I helped. Susan said, I have a deck I can't handle. I think they have a plastic coating. There you go. Yep. Yeah, plastic coating. Okay. Jane, I love your Lenormand reads this morning. Very clear. Yep.
They are. The Lenormand, I like that. I just tell a story.
Yeah. Okay, last question. Believe it or not. What words of advice do you have for people when it comes to interviewing a deck? Who would love to start? Jaime.
Go easy. It doesn't, if you've never done it, it doesn't, there's no set way to do it. Find what works for you, make it flow. If nothing's coming to you, then flip through the deck and look at the art and see if something you get intuitive hits that way and write it down, or if some word comes, kind of bounce off of that. There is no set way that you have to do this, and make the energy light and not, have fun. That's what I say. Have fun.
Nice. Who wants to go next?
Well, I'll go since I just did this deck interview. And I'll say, even though I would say, like Jaime said, go easy and don't, if you do a deck interview, and let's say you don't like having the devil as the outcome of your deck interview, or you didn't, wait a few days, and you don't have to just interview a deck once. You can do it a few times, maybe do a different deck.
Yeah.
A different interview.
Different spread.
Do your interview a different way. Like I did this deck interview differently than I normally do it, because I normally shuffle in between questions. I did not this time. So, play with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Deb?
Remember that you're looking for an exchange of energy. So you want to find out what energy does the deck have, and you want to put your energy into the deck. So in that way, you get to know each other and you can intuitively understand the answers it's giving you.
Yes.
You just gave like the spell to life. Remember that you're looking for an exchange of energy. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You got it. Angela, what about you?
Well, I just do it intuitively. I want to know how the deck feels. That's the main thing I want to know, is how the deck feels to me, and will we be able to work together? Because there are some decks that I have just plain rejected after a deck interview.
Really? Oh, that's fabulous. Oh, I like this.
If personality doesn't fit mine, then we aren't working together.
Okay.
Do you give it a second chance, or you just say, nope, done?
It depends on how bad the reaction is. Some will make it the flying leap to the trash can. Others will be given another chance.
Love it.
Words of advice: do not mess with Angela.
No. No.
There are no second chances.
A good toss.
Yeah. I think words of advice that I have for people when it comes to interviewing a deck: do you want to do it? Great, do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's make it an enjoyable time. It's like going out on a meet and greet date. Am I going to enjoy spending time with you? You can overthink it like I do. You can be very intuitive and very connected. Do what works for you. And the other advice is, I would say, write down the interview if you use a standard list of questions, because it's interesting to go back and look at them. And Jeffrey recently decided he's interviewing every deck before he uses it, just to get a feel for the energy around that. And that's very thoughtful.
Yeah, I do. I always do it before I use it.
So, well, he does it before, even if he's had it for a while. He's going to interview it again to see what it brings.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then after I get my 7 questions, I don't write the questions back down either. I just, because I have in here, I have the Wildwood, the Salsa Rabido, the Wiser Tarot, the influence of the angels, and so I just put 1 through 7 and then the card that I got.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I can just do that. So I guess, I mean, if I had different questions, it would be different.
Yeah.
I agree with that statement, Beth.
You badass, Angela.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know about Angela. Seriously, not someone to F with. Or be like Angela and get up and leave.
Yep.
So, well, and sometimes that's, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes, I have some decks that I've gotten that, and I think, Jaime, you know one of them, where I got it and I was looking at it and I was like going, what?
Yep.
Oh, God. Yeah,
Yep.
so, yeah. Thomas says, treat it like a meet and greet date. Gerald, do you need a phone? A phone call. It's that idea. It's just that, you get a phone call from a friend 20 minutes into your date to make sure that everything's going okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think that's good.
That is good.
Yeah. It's an energy exchange. If Jeffrey's energy has shifted, the conversation changes too.
Mhm.
So, but I love that idea of taking notes.
Mhm.
So, did I say? Okay. Hang on. Okay. Linda Day Gonzalez said, I asked the mystical moments what its strengths were, and I got Queen of Swords. Maybe I can grow to work with it.
Mhm.
Queen of Swords. That's pretty. That's going to be knocking down obstacles, getting stuff done, and telling you exactly what you may need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, if that's how you feel about the Queen of Swords.
Right.
So,
Which is another very valid point too. How do you feel about certain cards?
Mhm.
oh, yeah.
Mhm. That is a good point.
You
Yep.
know, so like for this deck, getting the devil as the outcome. Sometimes the devil's fun.
Mhm.
Sometimes that it's like it's going to go out and party, or like you said, it's knocking stuff off, and the devil, it doesn't scare me. That doesn't scare me with this deck. It's too cute.
Mhm.
It's too cute. Yes. Yeah, it's going to help you strategize, Linda. And yeah, I like that. Respect that a lot. Yep. That's very Angela too. I would have trouble throwing a deck away. Thanks to everyone for the video. You're welcome.
Mhm.
Well, and I think, it goes back to the idea that we talked about yesterday. The idea of tarot language
Mhm.
is what sort of, do I need a supportive read? And I'm going to pick a deck that I know is going to be very supportive in how it gives me the messages.
Mhm.
Right.
So, and I think it's important to pay attention to that.
Mhm.
So,
And that's why the spacious tarot, it always speaks to me like we have a very good relationship,
Mhm.
and I know that it's always going to be honest and real.
yeah.
So,
And it's like the out of hand deck for me, the Jamie Sawyer out of hand, which is a great deck. I should probably go back and find my deck interview for that, because in action, what it told me in the interview spread is probably very different than what it feels like in use. It's similar to what Deb and Angela do. They're actually interviewing and they're having conversation instead of just, they're seeing how it responds to questions. So, but yeah. So, what does everyone have coming up?
I have playing card lessons again on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
oh, I got to get my deck ready.
Yep. Yep.
I've been watching those, and I'm using cat cards, my 3D cat cards.
Those work.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've been watching them, Angela. I just haven't been able to catch the lives.
That's okay. Works on the replay.
Yeah, and you say you keep them up, and you need to keep them up because you have to write all the words on there.
Uh-huh.
So, and what is coming up next? Are you doing court cards or?
No, I've done the court cards on the first one, and then I went into the pips on that last one that I did. Next, I'm going to be doing the doubles, where you get 2 aces, 2 twos, whatever,
Oh,
and I'll give you the meanings for those. And then it depends on how long that takes. We may do some questions afterwards, so have questions ready because that's going to make you learn faster. The more questions we answer, it's going to give you a way to read them. It's going to give you the rhythm and the pace and how you go from one card to the next and pull them together.
nice.
Nice.
Deb, what do you have coming up?
Well, Thursday, I'm going to be back here on this channel for a discussion about black salt.
Mm-hmm.
Black salt, black salt.
Black salt. Ooh.
Jaime, you are going to be here with me in a couple of hours where we're doing a conversation with Julie Cuscio Watts and Patrick from the Living Wheel talking about why study astrology.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like a good one.
it's going to be a good one. And Jane, what about you?
I am supposed to have Strawberry Rhubarb Tarot on with me tomorrow. We're going to be doing messages from heaven and earth. Yeah, if for some reason she hasn't, if for some reason that doesn't happen, I'll just be doing either nothing or I'll be doing grab a deck and greet your guides.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a great series.
Yeah, however it goes down, it will, it'll be good.
Yeah.
Yes. And Allison Aries Girl Tarot said, I'm so critical. Anyhow, I guess I've done interviews, just didn't realize it. Only a dozen have made the cut. I do truly love the decks that I do work with, though. That's
Nice.
great.
Yeah.
And Kathy Tortoiseshell Moon said, I'm tempted to ask my deck the compatibility questions found on a dating app. What's your favorite color? Do you prefer long walks on the beach or cozy nights in? What's your favorite movie, etc.?
I think that'd be fun.
Yes, I want to know how that works out.
Yeah.
I do
Yes.
too.
I'm tempted to print off a series of the compatibility questions and
Mhm.
do that. That's a fun spread.
Yeah.
And then you know if your deck has a sense of humor.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And Beth wants to know what time tomorrow, Jane.
Probably 10 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah.
Maybe 11.
Oh, you know how to know for sure. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be 10, but Sharon, she's on the West Coast, so I like to give her grace
Mhm.
There you
because it gets so early in the morning for her. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good to see you, Naomi. And deck date interview. It's like the speed dating.
Uh-huh.
All right. You find your deck likes pina coladas, but not getting caught in the rain.
Right.
Because Diana actually said they will sometimes leave their decks that they don't like at the beach on picnic tables.
Yes. She does that.
Okay.
They find new homes that way.
I like that.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This has been Tear the Stash Way Deck Interviews. All of my guest links are below. Please go over and like and subscribe. So, and some of us do individual readings, and those links are below too. So if you want to see what some of our decks look like in action. So, oh, come on. There you go. Okay. So, yeah, there you go. Oh, I can do this one too.
I can't.
There you go.
There you go. Woot woot.
All right.
Gerald has the power.
I do have the power. Don't, Oh, when I forgot to play. Here, I'll play this word for going out. Here we go.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
This section of the video is brought to you by the word sesquipedalian. Everyone say it with me. Sesquipedalian. Sesquipedalian. Having many syllables. No sesquipedalian here. Like, share, and subscribe to our channels.